Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. In today's video I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks for when selling your collection to trade. It's going to be an eye-opener for some of you. Some of you who've watched my channel knows I try and talk about the trade side of things pretty frequently. I want to educate people and get it on people's minds that profit isn't a bad word, but also different traders will treat you differently. I'm going to show you a host of coins. You can see in front of you there's a 2022 PF70 Ultra Cameo. This wasn't bought from someone, this was bought from the actual mint for me. But I'm going to go through firstly how the market works, and then I'm going to go through my individual rationale and how I would do it as a professional trader. And hopefully the people who watch this get something out of it. I've been doing very well on YouTube, so I'm trying to keep the streak up, but I think this is going to be a good video for everyone. Now, before I get into how I trade things, I want to talk about the different types of traders. So you've got the bottom end of the market, and they all service part of the market. I call them the cash for gold buyers. So they're buying in, and they are typically selling to the melters. So they might position themselves at 10% under spot. So say this is worth 450, they might try and pay 400. Now you do have the pawn shops and you do have the chancellors. I don't want to talk about them because, to be frank, I don't even include them in the conversation. They should be made illegal. I don't think the service they provide is a good service. But let's start it off at the cash for gold guys. So they want to buy it cheap enough that there is no risk and they can take it to the melters and just make their coin, and that's fine. Typically in the past I would align myself with these people because they would come up with the odd gem, but the bulk of it is it's a lot of cash flow and it's very minimal returns. I might pay typically spot for these for a cash for gold guy. They don't typically want to go below that because there's a natural cut-off point sending it to the melters. The next part of it, part of the line, so to speak, is you've got your coin dealers, and your coin dealers will position themselves just above, or the bullion dealers, coin and bullion dealers, they'll position themselves just above the cash for gold guys. They genuinely have a bit more knowledge. They're going to pay you slightly more. They've got more of a sales base. So they're coming in, they might have clients, they might have a little black book of clients like myself. They might pay you, say, 5% under to spot, and they're going to flip it for maybe, for stuff like this, they're going to flip it for maybe 3% over, 4% over. So they will make a spread. And there's a lot of people in this arena who are positioning themselves like that. I'm one of them. You then move slightly along and you've got the more numismatists. I say the bullion dealer, then the coin dealer, then the numismatist, if you're going to treat it as a straight line. They're someone who, they don't really want to deal with this. There's not enough money in these types of coins, but they certainly want to deal with this. Now, the problem when you're selling is you need to know who the right buyer is for your collection. If you get it wrong, you're going to take a kicking. And the reason being, if you take something like this to a cash for a gold guy, he's going to pay you what he pays for this, even though this is probably worth, you know what, I don't even know the price of this. Let's just say 5 grand, because I think it's 5 grand what I put it on the books for. And they're going to pay you 2,250 for it, or 2,200 for it. And sometimes something like this will slip through the net for the cash for gold guys, and they will sell it to a coin dealer, and coin dealer makes all the money. Not always. It has happened on occasion to me. It's not an often occurrence though. Most of what I buy will be low margin from these types of people. Now, ideally, you're going to position yourself. So you've got the numismatic, you've got kind of, that's numismatic, semi-numismatic, and your bullion. You want to sell to the right buyer, because selling to the right buyer will get you the most money. Now, if you need instant liquidity, I would never go for a cash for gold guy. Just go straight to, say, Hat and Garden and Saudis. They pay slightly more. But if you know of a coin dealer will pay you more than those guys. Now, in terms of if you have a big collection, you know, you should probably shop it around. And I will say this to my clients quite a lot. I'll say, look, there's some bits in there that I don't actually know. There's always going to be coins that you don't know. The coin world is very diverse, and it's problematic for someone like me because I want to give the best price, but equally I can't know everything. And you could say, well, why don't you go online and check it? And when you're dealing with 20, 30,000 pounds worth of coins, there's not enough hours in a day. So you have to throw a number out, hope it sticks, but hope it's a fair number. Because the last thing you want is someone come back saying, oh, you ripped me off, you done X, Y, Z. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for anyone because the client leaves with a sour taste in their mouth and you potentially taking a reputational damage. Now, if I was someone who had a collection, I would personally go to 3 people. I would say, what's your best I've got? I'd itemize what I own and never say to someone, it is an inheritance collection. Never say it. Because as much as there's dealers like me who would tell you straight, I'm just trying to make X amount and that's fine. There's dealers out there who just see pound signs and they will be like, okay, well, if you want to make, like if you've got it from inheritance, I will try and get, like if I can make 50% on it, I'll make 50% on it. It happens. I've heard of probate where there was one gentleman who passed away. It ended up going through one of my suppliers. He bid the highest. It went through 3 people. I think one dealer offered him £2,000, £3,000 for the collection. Nuts, absolutely nuts. It was an awful offer. And there's people out there, he would have cashed in 20k for no work. And that, to me, that's criminal. I don't know how people sleep at night doing that, but that's between the man in the mirror and the tax man. I personally wouldn't do it. I don't think that's right. I think it's morally and ethically bankrupt, but hey, that's why I'm here on YouTube trying to teach you things, and that's why other dealers are there coining it in, aspiring to own a yacht. You know, horses for courses, but you need to educate yourself and why it is what it is. Now, to go through how I would price things, so I've got a whole selection of coins. Now, I've got sovereigns, I've got, again, semi-Numi, Numi, this is probably a hybrid. This is certainly numismatic. This is probably semi-Numi due to the condition. And then you've got odd bits and bobs. Now, if someone come to me, what I'm paying for these is fixed. I don't make a lot of money on these. I make very little money on these. But they're very liquid, so I don't need to make a lot of money. I aim to make £10 a coin across the year. Now, sometimes that fluctuates. So I might make £5 at one point in the year. I might make £15 at another point in the year, but overall I'm aiming for 10. But if someone says to me, can I have a bit more? I say, you're welcome to take it elsewhere because it's not worth my time. And it's not a case of I want to make a lot of money. You get, say you get 50 of these in, you sell them in one day, you made £10 a coin, fantastic. It's 500 quid's profit. The problem is if spot goes against you. So there's an inherent feature where you have to offer a certain amount. Anything below, you're not doing well. And for years, I would pay spot for these. Now, I recently dropped it down to 97. That's now gone back up. And that's fine. I don't have a problem just making a fair spread. Now, I've got a collection coming in tomorrow. And it's a collection of 15 international gold coins. And I said to the gentleman, I think they're worth between 3 to 5%. Oh, that's what I think it's worth to me. I'll offer you spot. Typically, I'd offer 97, 98 on some of them because they're international. And they're slightly harder to move, but not a crazy amount. And he was like, fair enough. I think he said I could pay a bit less, but I will discuss it with him tomorrow when it lands. Now, coins like this, I trade these in 2 ways. So typically, if I'm spending £1,000 on this, I want to get it for 900. And some people might be like, oh, that's a fair whack to make. You've got to build in worst case scenario. So if this drops down to say 950 and it doesn't sell, you're dropping at £50 price points for it to move. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Now, I will say to people, shop it around. If you can't sell it, come back to me. That's fine. But I got this in a trade, so I probably paid more than I wanted to because I made money on the other end of the trade because I traded it for postage stamps. I did okay out of that. Now, a coin like this, typically I wouldn't buy. Unless I had a buyer lined up, it's probably too niche for me. It's too expensive for me. I don't really like dealing with things much above £2,500. The reason for that, one is insurance reasons. I could get carrier insurance. I haven't because I don't deal with it enough. It doesn't matter to me. But I probably wouldn't trade this. If I was to buy it, say it is a £5,000 coin, I would need to check the prices. I'm not up to date on that. I'd probably be aiming for 200 profit on that at the bottom end. They're difficult coins, so you've got to reflect that. You've got to take into account how long you're going to own something. How long is it going to be dead money for? Coin like this, I've said to people it's worth between £2,500 to £3,000. I paid £2,700, but I bought it for my collection. If someone came to me with this coin, I'd offer them £2,500 on the spot, because I think it's an easy flip at £2,700. What's that? 8%. Not bad, but again, might sit on it. Not a problem. What if a coin come in that was heavily cleaned? Now, in the case of this has been harshly cleaned. I won this from auction. I'd probably offer you a bit over spot on this. Not by much. I know it's a wonderful coin. I bought it to, I graded it to protect it from further damage. Not a problem. Most clean coins, apart from anything that's pure bullion, the price does come down because there's less buyers for it. Now this coin I bought, I paid $5.50 for this. I bought this from a dealer. I never thought it would grade an MS. Had it come in at an MS, you know what, I certainly would have offered a lot more. I offered $5.50 because again the rationale was he wanted 600. I needed to grade it, and if it came out an MS62, I would have made my money then. There would have been 50 quid in it for me had it made 62. I won the lotto on that one. Hold my hands up. I don't always get it right, but that's worked in my favour. But I thought it was a 62. I couldn't get out the case. So something like this, say for example you bring in a collection, and I've done this a lot. You know, there's several things. There's a few more examples I'll go through. If you bring in a collection, I might offer you a price on the collection of like, well, one coin's difficult, that coin's going to be a pain. And I just try and make a fair, like for example, the 7 coin World War I set. In my head, I was like, if I make 100 quid on the set, on the 7 coins, I'm doing okay. But that's the baseline. I think I did slightly over once this is sold. I think it will come in around 120, 130 after postage. So what's that? 20 quid a coin? You know, I'm more than happy with that. That is not a problem on my end. I might price it in a way where I have a baseline for certain coins and then I'll factor in the potential for other coins. So these are some wonderful coins, by the way. Some of these are in my collection, some of them are on the chopping block. But I wanted to give you a diverse range of coins just to go through it. Sets like this, for example. Someone made an offer on this. It didn't get back to me, that's okay. If I was buying this off a client, I'd probably run it one or two ways. I'd say I'd want to pay spot just on this and have this as a free carry. I'd want to pay, say, 97, 98% on the lot just to see me through on it. There's not a crazy amount of money in it. Most of the coins I deal with, they don't make a lot of money, but it's little and often. So, and it's the same for most dealers in my position. Some dealers coin it in, like I said earlier. Now, a set like this, you would have seen all these coins before, by the way. It's not a problem. A set like this, I haven't had time to list this. I'd offer over spot. I paid over spot in terms of the auction because I know these two and this one's, they're probably going to be easy moves for a fair amount over spot. I might pay you 25 over spot. If it came in, like say this came in, I'd probably offer you spot for this, but these are where the money's at. It's not a problem. What I'll do is I'll sit down, I'll work out what I think it will go for. If I make 50 quid on that set, I'm over the moon. You know, we're only talking, I think I paid what, 8? Is it 8? 9? I'm not sure, but if I made 50 quid, say I'm making 5 to 8% on this set, I'm actually over the moon on that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's kind of been educational. If someone wants to talk to me more about how dealers work, and I can't talk for all dealers, but I could talk for different segments of the market in terms of how I've worked with them in the past, I'm more than happy to kind of share that information. It doesn't matter to me. Like, this last year is my victory lap. Like, I know from next September I'm probably going to be doing something different other than coin dealing, so it's not a problem to kind of share this information my end. I hope it's been useful, and I'll see you on the next one.